Hello, 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 and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Beverly Lucas, and I am the host of For the Love of Cooking Fridays. What do I do on Fridays? I try to show you how to make a meal at home that is always better than the restaurant. There is nothing better than a homemade meal. And I love to be in the kitchen. That's why you see this smile on my face. Because when I'm in the kitchen, all other cares go away because I am creating something from natural ingredients. For this month, the church community that I am involved with, we are on a Daniel fast. And if you know anything about the Daniel fast, it's a plant-based fast. So we eat fruits and vegetables, and we refrain from any beef and different types of protein. So what I'm going to do for this month each week is I'm going to show how to make something that is in line with that Daniel fast. Today is the fourth day of the fast, so I have been just posting different things and different ideas to help people to get out of the box about what it is that you can eat and how you can have things that are nutritious and that's in line with a break of all the heavy food. So, no, I'm not a nutritionist, so let me say that. So, everything that I say is just a recommendation. I also have absolutely no culinary training, but I've been in the kitchen for a long time, so I'm just sharing my experience. So, today, what I thought I'd make was something that I just absolutely love. I love mushroom soup. I love mushrooms. I mean, all year round. So for this Friday, we are making wild rice and mushroom soup. So let me introduce you to some of our ingredients. So here I have about, I believe these are 10 ounces of white mushrooms that are already trimmed and sliced. I have 5 ounces of shiitake mushrooms. Again, those are all sliced. We have our wild rice. So I have a cup of wild rice. And what I'm using Uncle Ben's rice. If you watch any of my videos, you know my mother only used Uncle Ben's rice. So I get that from her. So we're going to use the Uncle Ben's wild rice, and we're going to cook it according to the package along with the seasoning that comes with it. But to that, we are going to add, I have here 2 cups of vegetable stock. I also have this Better Than Bullion. There's a whole series of Better Than Bullion. You can get the turkey Better Than Bullion. You can get the roasted chicken Better Than Bullion. You can get the garlic base Better Than Bullion. But I have the vegetable base Better Than Bullion. I don't know how much of it I will use because in using this, it is very strong. So I really have to taste everything as it goes along. I also have a small onion that is already diced. I have 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm going to use some fresh thyme, and I like to top everything off with some carrots, and just pay attention to the textures and the colors. So when we cook, we eat with our eyes first. So when I'm making something, I'm always thinking about what is it going to look like when it's done. So I want it to be bright. I want it to be something that you just want to just sink your teeth into so that it is pleasing to your palate. Also, I have some sugar snap peas. So I've seen some recipes where they've used kale, they've used or other chefs have used kale, they've used spinach and something to give it more color, and I really understand that, but I wanted to use some snap peas, so that's what we have. And then my last ingredient is this new seasoning that I have, and it's called Umami, which is really just powdered mushrooms. So I saw this in a couple of recipes, and I did some research today, and I saw that I could get it from Trader Joe's. I've only been to Trader Joe's once in my lifetime, and I went today to get this one seasoning, and I end up spending $48 because they had a lot of good things. Let me tell you, they had pistachio nuts, they had pecans, they had sunflower seeds, they had pineapple, they had mango. So I just got everything that I thought that I would need for the next week on this Daniel fast. So I'm gonna put a plug in there for Trader Joe's. So the first thing that we're going to do, I have 2 pots here. I have one pot that I'm going to put the olive oil and the butter in order to begin to saute the onions, and then we're going to add the mushrooms. In my other pot here, I'm going to put the vegetable stock in here. So instead of using water for the Uncle Ben's, I'm using the vegetable stock. It's going to give it just a wonderful flavor. I'm going to use my salt and pepper, and I just remembered that I'm going to need some garlic. You really can't cook without garlic, so I'm going to chop up some garlic, and we are going to get this started. So are you with me? Are you really with me? Come on with me. Okay, so I have my olive oil here. And I'm going to add my butter. Just like that. Vegetable stock, and I'm going to add the rice along with the seasoning packet. And we're just gonna let that come to a boil. Okay, our butter is melted. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add our onions. Into that, I'm gonna add some salt and pepper. We're using a salt shaker today. And we're gonna let this get a little translucent. I can't wait to find out how this is. I can't wait to find out how this is gonna taste. I read a lot of reviews on it and how you can sprinkle it on different sauces and how it just gives it just a mushroom flavor. So it's always fun. Why do I have these glasses on? Okay, I have the glasses on because I'm wearing my contacts. And with my contacts, they're bifocals, but I really can't read. So I had to read the box. Okay, so our onions are translucent. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the garlic. It's 2 small cloves. So 2 small, 1 large clove. Ooh, that fragrance of the garlic. And as soon as you can smell it, that's when it's time to add the other ingredients. So what I decided to do was to add a 1/4 cup of some white wine. This is Riesling. Ooh, that smell. And the one thing that I really like to emphasize when you're cooking is that you don't put all the ingredients together at once. Then you miss the layers of flavor. But when you layer the flavor and allow things to cook and to saturate, when you taste it, you can taste distinct flavors as opposed to putting everything in all together. So we're just gonna let that cook out for a minute before we add our mushrooms. Always the smell in the kitchen is really what just draws you in, just draws you in. Okay, I think I can add the mushrooms. So I'm gonna add the mushrooms. So there are so many different types of mushrooms. But white button mushrooms are popular, portobello are popular, and shiitake mushrooms are popular. And the one thing that I do love about mushrooms is that they take on the flavor of whatever you cook them in. So these mushrooms are going to taste like garlic, onions, butter, and just a hint of the Riesling wine. And the one thing about wine with your food, it just gives it a taste. The alcohol is cooked out. So you don't have to think that you are consuming alcohol. You're only consuming a flavor. The other thing about mushrooms is they cook down. So they shrivel. But to these now, I'm going to add some salt and pepper. Okay, and always we clean as we go. It's so funny when I watch cooking videos, not only am I watching the cook and what the cook is cooking, but I'm also looking at the kitchen. I'm looking at, not the kitchen, no. I'm also looking at what's around in the kitchen. And again, that's just me. I like a clean stove. Not saying anything against anybody, I'm just saying. For Beverly, that's what I do. I love watching cooking videos. I spend hours watching videos in my spare time, sometimes when I can't sleep. And it does motivate me and make me feel as though I can cook anything. So this is boiling, so we are going to set the timer for 15 minutes. And I have everything on low, but I will keep checking that. In the meantime, I'm going to get back to these mushrooms. Okay, the mushrooms are looking good and they are tasting good. So I'm adding to it another cup of the vegetable broth and a half a teaspoon of the vegetable base. We have to taste it. Delicious. It really is delicious. But you have to bear with me because I just have to add. I know I have to. It's about a half teaspoon of sugar. My secret ingredient I learned from my mother. I'm gonna add some more, I think, black pepper. So I put in a few sprigs of thyme, and now I have this ingredient that I've never used before. I don't want to put too much. I don't want it to be overpowering. And I'm gonna put this on low, and we are just gonna let it simmer. For about 30 minutes. Okay, so our mushrooms are done. They have been simmering for about 35 minutes. Our rice is done. And as you can see, we still have some liquid here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna transfer the mushrooms into the rice. So let me tell you what else I did with the mushrooms. You saw that I added some sugar, so I did do that. I added more black pepper. And another thing that I did is I added a little bit of red pepper, crushed red pepper. Not a lot, maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon, just to give it a little kick. And when I tell you, it is delicious, you've got to believe me. Now, let's put it all together. Now, some people make this and they cook everything together. I get that. But because I was using the Uncle Ben's rice and not just a regular long grain rice, that's why I decided to make it separately. So, if you can see how good that looks. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my sugar snap peas. I think I told you, but these were blanched. So I cooked them in some boiling water for 2 minutes. And then I gave them an ice bath. And that just gives it a lot of color. And then what I have is I have some carrots. So as I serve it, or when I put it in the dishes, I'm going to shave the carrots on top to give it the bit of crunchiness. So it's the texture of the soup also. So we have the rice, which is soft. We have the mushrooms, which are a little bit spongy. We have the sugar snap peas, which gives it a bit of crunch, a bite, because I blanched them, so they still have a bite to them. And then we have the shaved carrots, which just gives a little velvety sweetness. That's what we're going to call that. So those are all of our layers of flavor. So we are going to plate this up. So excited. Here we have the mushroom soup. It's not cream of mushroom. It is wild rice and mushroom. The juice, the sauce, it is absolutely delicious. I've already been tasting it. I don't know if I really need to taste it, but we just gonna go ahead and taste it anyway. It is delicious. And what makes it delicious is the layers of flavor, yes, but also the texture of every ingredient adds to the bite and pleases the palate. You have to try this recipe. As you saw, it did not take a lot of ingredients. It takes some time, but it did not take a lot of ingredients. So if you like this video, do me a favor. Give me a thumbs up. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. If you have a suggestion, leave a suggestion. If there's something that you would like to see me cook, you can go ahead and write that comment too. And I will do my best to accommodate you. I'm trying to reach a variety of audience because I'm trying to also expand what it is that I know how to do and how to do it. One thing that I love to do is I love to do research, and I love to research food, and I love to research recipes. So my whole point in this YouTube channel is sharing my love for cooking so that you can also have a love for cooking and not just dread to be in the kitchen. But once you create something that looks like this, why wouldn't you want to be in the kitchen? Because not only does it look good to the eyes and it smells good, and you can hear when you're cooking. So, and then you taste it. That's like all the senses. There you go. Next week, I will bring to you another recipe, again, that is going to be plant-based, whatever that will be. I already have an idea. I mean, I really actually dream food. So I had a dream last night about a particular type of food. And when I woke up this morning, I was going to change everything because of my dream. And I was like, no, we're going to go on. We're going to do with what we prepared to do or what we plan to do. And then I can save that for next week. So I can't wait to see you on next week. Again, my name is Beverly Lucas, and you have been with me in Beverly's Kitchen. And I thank you so much for spending this time with me. Until next Friday, this is Beverly Lucas, and I am signing off.